Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My friend William, I think this is the podcast everybody's been dying to get to. I think this is the one everybody's been dying for.
It's the high school William podcast. It's the high school William podcast. It's the tight ends, baby.
It's the tight ends. The one where everybody is so focused. I guarantee that everybody's going to have strong opinions about tight ends. Everybody's going to be thinking about this one.
They might. Don't sleep on the ball knowers out there, Jake. Some of these 5-star listeners are some certified ball knowers.
There are some absolute certified ball knowers out there. People that, are more that think they're more casual, but they're definitely ball knowers out there.
There was a ball knower on, I think it was YouTube, that was telling you that you hate Ohio State. And I think they knew ball.
I got called an Ohio State hater today, and that I was rage baiting Ohio State fans because I said Julian Sain was not one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the country because I had CJ Carr, Darian Mensah, and Trinidad Chambliss. And
oh yeah, you did. I was about to say put your money in your mouth. No, you had him 5th when we did our quarterback ratings.
I made sure that when I did that, I double checked. But CJ Carr, Dante Moore, Trinidad Chambliss, and Darian Mensah all in front of him, and I still stand by that. And if you want to go hear why I have him at 5th, go ahead, go listen to the quarterback episode. Basically, I was not impressed with his last 2 games, Indiana and Miami. I think there's a lot of justification behind that. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith. But yes, got called an Ohio State hater today. Hey, I tried to rage bait a little bit of people here and bring back an old topic today on Twitter. I tried to ask who's going to have a better season between Clemson and Penn State because they're both kind of in weird positions.
That one hurt me. I'm refraining from responding to that right now. I have to take some time before I jumped into that one. My heart's not ready. The Pinstripe Bowl is still very fresh.
I'll give you this part, though. I think Penn State record-wise might be better because Penn State's schedule is actually fairly easy this year.
I'm not partaking.
That's fair. That's fair. My other hot take today is that if Miami does not make the playoff this year, Mario Cristobal has to go and clean house because, my goodness, other than Clemson and Notre Dame, they should cruise through that schedule.
They really should. And like you mentioned the Clemson game, there's a chance that game is quiet if Clemson has a bad start to the season because they catch Miami on game 4 or game 5, I believe.
Yeah, it's the first week of October. I'll also give you Florida State rivalry game, but they had that one at home.
It hasn't moved the needle lately. I don't know.
There's a couple other weird ones. I mean, I guess you never know Pitt. I guess you never know Virginia Tech. But realistically, they get both those games at home. But Miami going on the road to Clemson, on the road at Notre Dame, those are the 2 games. And we saw last year they lost 2 games and they still made the playoffs. So if they don't make the playoff this year, Cristobal needs to go and clean house because this offense is arguably more impressive than last year's offense because you at least have a quarterback. But
yeah,
we're not here to talk quarterbacks. We're not here to talk running backs. We're not here to talk wide receivers.
My favorite position.
We're here to talk tight ends, which before we get into it, I think this is the hardest position for us fans, people that run a podcast of some version, to realistically try to rate these guys because we're not looking at them for first round potential. What is their blocking? Right. What is their pro potential? I mean, we all knew Kenyon Sadiq was fantastic. I think everybody thought Kenyon Sadiq was the best tight end in the country last year. The previous year, Tyler Warren, very obviously, he was the best tight end in the country. But when you start getting past that second, that third, trying to rank 10 tight ends, I'll be honest, guys, we had to dig deep in our bag here. I had to dig deep on this one.
Yeah, I had names, and then it's okay, how do I justify these and explain it in a way that justifies why they're ranked? Putting good blocker, what does that do for people? So I like it. I mean, and some of these guys I've watched all of these guys. Some of these guys you're watching and okay, how do I put that into paper and say this is the best tight end in the country because he can do a down block, he can do a reach block. Oh, and by the way, he's athletic enough to make a catch and take it 15 yards every time. It's difficult, and that But I think in the same breath, it's also very difficult to do offensive linemen in terms of a podcast.
Which
For
is
the same
why
reason.
we are not doing offensive linemen. We are not doing that because, my goodness, I do not have enough ball knowledge to sit here and go through my 10 best centers.
Well, we don't have to do it that way, but I can name some people that I think are top 10. Can we just call that our top 10 offensive lineman show?
Is it just you naming Clemson guys?
No, we don't have 10 guys. PJ Williams, SMU. Jordan Seaton, LSU. Trevor Gooseby, Texas. This is not no particular order so far. Anthony Knapp, Notre Dame. Michael Carroll, Alabama. Trevor Lout, Iowa. Austin Sear.
Miami has another good offensive lineman. Maybe I'm blanking.
Jackson Cantwell, but he's a true freshman, so I don't have him.
Yeah, I thought there maybe might be somebody different, not the freshman.
Tyron Bell and Francis Mauaga, or how you pronounce his last name?
Mauaga, or whatever. Yeah. I know he went pro.
Oh, Carter Smith, Indiana.
That's who I'm thinking of. Carter Smith is a fantastic offensive tackle for Indiana.
It's actually like when I was working through the offensive line list, SMU has 3 guys who are potential round 1 through 3 guys on the offensive line. Like they have a really good offensive line coming this year with PJ Williams, who's the dude, and then you have Joshua Bates and Addison Nichols. Anyway, this is the tight end episode. Let's jump into the tight ends. Those guys ain't catching passes.
I mean, you never know.
You never know. We could have Caden Proctor.
Caden Proctor could. Anyways, let's jump into some tight ends here. First one here. I moved mine around, but I think this is a pretty top consensus one. I have Jamari Johnson at number 1.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. We're
Jamari Johnson. He was a redshirt freshman last year, I believe, or maybe he was a sophomore last year, based on what ESPN tells me.
I think he's a redshirt. No, he's a sophomore last year.
But he had 510 yards playing next to Kenyon Sadiq.
First round Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah. First round draft pick Kenyon Sadiq had 510 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaged 16 yards a catch last year.
Yeah.
Playing in an offense that had also DeCorian Moore, that had all those running backs, and he still had 510 yards. And I mean, he caught a touchdown against Penn State in that early season matchup.
That was a fantastic game.
Fantastic game. He didn't get a ton of catches with only 32, but when he made plays, it seemed like they were usually big. I mean, you look Rutgers, 1 catch, 56 yards. Wisconsin, 1 catch, 23 yards. JMU, 1 catch, 41 yards and a touchdown. Like, at least when he caught the ball, it seemed like it was pretty impactful. It wasn't just typically he had a couple games, 1 catch, 6 yards, 1 catch, 3 yards, but like he really started to come along later in the year. Starting in November, he had at least 3 catches in all but 1 game. So he started to be utilized more. I think with Dante Moore being there, with the other weapons at wide receiver we've talked about, with Evan Stewart and DeCorian Moore, Jeremiah McClellan. I mean, this is Jamari Johnson's spot. Like, he is the featured tight end now, and I expect them to basically use him the same way they use Kenyon Sadiq.
And to talk about it too, I know we just said like this is really hard. He is a phenomenal blocker, and honestly, I think he projects as a better tight end at the position player than Kenyon Sadiq does or did. I think Jamari Johnson's more talented than Kenyon Sadiq, which is hard to say. And a lot of people say that too when the great guy leaves, or the next guy's even better. I really do think he's a more complete tight end than Kenyon Sadiq was. I'm not saying that Kenyon Sadiq cannot block. Please, for the love of God, don't hear that. What I am saying is Jamari Johnson is a better blocker, and he's also extremely explosive as well with the ball in his hand. So I'm right there.
Jamari Johnson is also a bigger tight end. Kenyon Sadiq was listed at 6'3", 240. Jamari Johnson is listed at 6'5", 257. So he's almost 20. He's over 15 pounds bigger and 2 inches taller.
He's a traditional tight end. Sadiq. Yeah, he's more of a traditional tight end, and he has it all.
Yeah. I think Jamari Johnson. I think he is absolutely, in my opinion, the top candidate to win the Mackey Award this year.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, I have Trades Green out of
Me
LSU.
too. Lockstep, baby.
Lockstep. What you start off why you like Trades Green?
Well, first off, he's 6'7", so he's an elite mismatch in the red zone. Broke a tight end record for touchdowns for an LSU tight end, which is pretty good. They've had some pretty good tight ends there
In only 8 games too.
in only 8 games, which is wild. 13 yards per catch. He's in a new offensive system where I think Lane Kiffin's going to use him a lot. Ole Miss tight ends have done very, very well in Lane Kiffin's system. Do you think of Knox? I forget Knox's first name. Dalton Knox, was it?
Dawson Knox.
Pierce Corn. There's been a few Ole Miss tight ends who've made it to the league. Evan Ingram out of Lane Kiffin's system. So that's going to work really well for him. The reason I have him at number 2 and Jamari Johnson at number 1 is Jamari Johnson is a complete tight end where Trades is more of a receiver. He's 6'7", 240, soaking wet. So like he's not going to scare anybody in the blocking game. But if they're passing the ball, he's a threat any point of the field. So he's a phenomenal football player. So he's number 2 because he can't block like Jamari Johnson does.
You talked about offensive system. Last year at Ole Miss, Daquan Wright had 39 catches for 635 yards and 5 touchdowns. He was the 4th on the team in receiving yards, 5th on the team in receptions. Sounds low, but with the amount that they threw the ball last year, Daquan Wright was right in step with a lot of these other guys receiving the ball. Yes. And when you have a tight end as talented as Trades Green, I think Lane Kiffin's going to find a way to make sure that he puts him into the system and utilizes that size, that speed, that skill. And I mean, Lane Kiffin, as much as people like to hate him, he is still one of the best offensive minds in college football right now. So giving him a piece like this, he's going to find a way to use him.
Right.
Number 3 here. Who do you got?
I have Terrence Carter out of Texas Tech.
I do too. I think we are going to separate here though soon. I do not believe that we go lockstep the whole way down.
I know we're going to separate soon.
I do think we're going to separate here soon. I don't think that we're going to go lockstep the whole way down. Tell me why you like Terrence Carter Jr.
Well, he's in a pass-friendly offense. I bet Brendan Sorsby doesn't play. No pun intended.
We'll see who his quarterback is this year. It might be Will Hammond. It might be Brendan Sorsby. We'll see who he has.
Will Hammond is who I'm thinking. And Will Hammond is no slouch. So Terrence Carter had 52 catches for 602 yards last year. Just a hell of a lot of volume for a tight end. And then led the country in missed tackles for tight ends. I don't have the exact number of missed tackles, but he led the country. So I do have that stat, which is absolutely absurd. He's another one that, going to get drafted, but he's similar to Trades Green, where he's got more of that receiver build. He's more of a slot receiver in his game style than he is a true tight end, which again is why Jamari Johnson is my number 1 dude.
Yeah. So Terrence Carter. So I went and pulled up the stats from the Oregon game when he played against Jamari Johnson. They completed 18 passes for 137 yards. Terrence Carter had 9 receptions for 72 yards. He had more than half of the receiving yards and exactly half of the receptions. And he was the only one who was moving the chains in that game. Really, they couldn't do anything else. Jacoby Williams ran for 81 yards, but 50 of that came on 1 carry. So his 6.2 yard per carry average was inflated significantly. Terrence Carter is the only one who seemed like he could consistently find a way to move the ball.
Yeah.
Terrence Carter is going to be another weapon for them this year. My big question when I look at Texas Tech is who is going to be passing that ball this year? Because I think depending on the quarterback situation, you won't see as strong of a year from Terrence Carter because of they don't have as good of an offense overall because if they can't control the line of scrimmage or if they can't move the ball efficiently with Will Hammond or let's say it's another quarterback, Terrence Carter's touches might be a little bit, he might see a lighter load this year.
Yeah. What are the odds we see Brendan Sorsby?
Ask him. He probably bet on it.
Yeah, Terrence Carter's phenomenal.
Terrence Carter actually, since 2024, leads all tight ends nationally with 1,315 yards.
Good gracious. I didn't realize that. That's pretty wild.
That's at least according to what my research told me. So if I'm wrong, my research is wrong.
No, it can't be you, though. It's not you. You're not wrong. Your research is wrong.
Exactly. My research is wrong. All right, number 4. I think this is where we start to differ here.
Maybe. So should we say them at the same time?
Mine will take about 3 minutes for me to say my name.
Okay, so never mind. You got the guy from Boston College, don't you?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Kalen Chudzinski. Is he related to Jeff Chudzinski?
I think he's related to the former. I think it's Jeff Chudzinski. I think so. Rob Chudzinski, the offensive coordinator, right?
Is it Rob Chudzinski? I'm thinking of, is this the guy that was the head coach for
the Browns?
No, I'm thinking of Jagosinski, who was the head coach at Boston College before. But
we should play a game. Is this Polish?
Rob Chudzinski, but yes, it is his son, and apparently he coaches at Boston College. The more you know. Didn't know that. Didn't know that the guy who was a 1 year. How bad was he? Of course, he went 4-12 with the Browns. Shockingly, everybody sucks for the Browns. Anyways, Kalen Chudzinski, he was a true freshman last year. Had 24 catches, 313 yards. I don't think anybody realizes, but how bad Boston College was last year. They were downright terrible. But this dude was one of the bright spots on our offensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
Louisville had four catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he is one of the bright spots, especially with how young he was last year.
He's freshman, true freshman last year.
True freshman, 6'3", 236. Needs to put on a little bit of weight. I'm expecting that year 2 of a tight end, I think he's going to take on a little bit more weight. I don't think people realize that how hard it is for a true freshman to typically come in and play as a tight end, because you have to know blocking schemes and route running. So
very difficult.
It's way more difficult for a freshman to come in and play immediately compared to some other positions like running back, where you need to find your hole and hit it and go. Tight end takes usually a little bit more, especially a spot like Boston College where you're just getting whooped every week. Be able to go and actually make plays on a weekly basis, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Kalen Chudzinski at 5. Everything you're saying, I would add. And then he played his best football against the better teams in the ACC. You look at, like you said, Louisville. He had 4 catches, 80 yards. Clemson, 3 catches, 29 yards. Pitt, 3 catches, 70 yards. Like, he showed up in these games where they needed him, and I mean, I guess they needed him in every game. They didn't do really well.
There was another tight end who actually did better than him last year, senior Jeremiah Franklin. So Chudzinski is now going to be the lead tight end for the team. So just give me more opportunities for him.
Right, and I think that the quarterback's going to be better in Lonergan's, the cat that transferred from Alabama and then transferred to who's the quarterback at Boston College this year?
Oh, I don't know. They all suck.
I thought it was Lonergan's, but he just transferred from Boston College, if I remember correctly.
Let's be honest, though. Is there going to be any nepotism where his dad gets him in the offensive game plan?
Oh, 1,000%. If he doesn't, then his mom needs to go fight him. Mason McKenzie is going to be the quarterback there. Transfer. So I was over here thinking that Lonergan's was still the guy there, but he is in fact not. The more you know.
The more you know. The more you know.
I've got Garrett Oakley at number 4. Tight end, Kansas State, 6'5", 245. So again, a little light, needs to put on some weight, but he had 6 touchdowns last year. Very, very consistent. Never came off the field. He was one of the most reliable players in all of college football because, A, he's on running downs. He's out there on passing downs. He's in a very dynamic offense when it comes to Kansas State. When you have a running quarterback, they do a lot of different things with that offense in terms of rushing and passing. They're very close to being 50-50 with their play calls. So they're not a team that goes out there and passes the ball 1,000 times and then runs it every now and then. So he doesn't have to come off the field. It really helps that offense click the way it does. I would say he's the focal. Where Avery Johnson's probably the most the best player, quote unquote. I think Garrett Oakley is probably the most important. So I got Garrett Oakley at number 4. And then, like I said, Kalen Chudzinski at number 5.
I like Garrett Oakley. We actually saw him live last year. I
We
actually
did.
don't remember his stats from last year. I'm sure he probably had a good game because it felt like, no offense, everybody had a good game that day. That was wearing purple. No offense. Fun fact, he actually, never mind, I'm lying. He didn't play in that game. He must have been injured. He did not play against Kansas last year.
Well, that's why we liked it. But we did meet his parents or his relatives.
No, we met the other tight end's parents. Whoever that 5-star tight end who went to Kansas State was.
Oh, Kier. Lincoln Kier.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
All right, my number 5. I got another young guy here, sophomore, DJ Vonami. So he had almost half his yards in his final 2 games between Nebraska and Vanderbilt. Freshman who came on late, but he's finished with over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, scored in the final 2 games of the year. And you got to remember, Iowa sucked at throwing the ball last year.
Yeah.
Mark Gronowski, we thought was going to be able to sling it, couldn't sling the rock.
No, we don't need to share that with anybody.
And all of a sudden, he finished with over 400 yards. Mark Gronowski only threw for 1,700 yards. DJ Vonami was the leading receiver for Iowa last year. He was the leading receiver with 400 yards. No offense, but he had 3 catches up through the first 3 games. And he finished with 434 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Which, believe it or not, is one of the highest amount of receiving yards in Iowa football history. And just think about some of the tight ends they've made.
I think it's the single game. I think there was the stat is a single game, 146 yards in a single game. Because I believe that some of those other guys have hit that number.
And he had 15 yards per catch, which is also, again, insane.
Yes.
So
now I have no idea what Iowa's quarterback situation is going to be this year. It's probably not going to be that much improved from last year, if we're being 100% honest. But Iowa has a track record for having really good tight ends. Really, really good tight ends. Noah Fant, Sam Laporta, Dallas Clark, TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle. Like, they are a tight end factory. So I just have to assume that this is the next guy in the line. Also, he's from Iowa. So, like, this
makes it even
ready
better.
to go. He's ready to go.
That makes it so much better.
All right. You talked about your 5, so do you want to jump to your 6?
I'll jump to my 6. I'm already ready. Christian Bittencourt, tight end, Clemson. He's got all the talent in the world. He's got all the size in the world. He's 6'5", 250 pounds, pure muscle. Again, I have more information on him, watching him, seeing him at practice. First guy in kind of guy, last guy out, which sounds so cliche, but he truly is, and was like that as a true freshman. He's coming in now, and in a Chad Morris offense, he's got an opportunity to really take a huge step forward in the receiving game. And just think, you go from Garrett Riley, who does not use the tight end, from Chad Morris, who developed Dwayne Allen, who won the Mackey Award, Jordan Leggett, who was a runner-up in the Mackey Award, Brandon Ford, who played in the NFL. So, in the Chad Morris offense and Clemson era, there was NFL guys getting pumped out of that position. I think he's that next one. Fantastic tight end. Huge uptick in usage is coming this year. So I'm going to go ahead and get ahead of the game and put him in here at number 6.
So my number 6, well, first, I'm not going to have him on my list because
whatever.
Sorry. I have a hard time believing in Clemson after. I'll give you this. Got good players. You didn't win games, though.
No.
You and Penn State combined to have something like 17 draft picks and combined to have 13 wins last year. That's terrible.
That was the most talented Bad Boys Mowers Pinstripe Bowl in the history of the Bad Boys Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah, that was the most amount of draft picks in one game that will ever be played in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah.
Especially in 1 year, because of how much talent there was on both those teams and how much you guys both just blew your seasons away. Anyways, I have Jeremiah Hazley from Duke as my next one.
Ooh, I like that.
6'3", 250. My concern for him is the quarterback situation, very similar to the Texas Tech one. You lose Darian Mensah, but Hazley, he came on once again towards the middle of the end of the year. First 2 games, 1 catch, 5 yards, 1 catch, 6 yards. And he also in the middle of the year, 1 catch, 5 yards, 1 catch, 9 yards. But after that, starting the beginning of November, 3 catches, 83 yards against Clemson. 4 catches, 61 yards against UConn. Still don't know how Duke lost to UConn, but that's still a weird one from last year. 3 catches, 47 yards against Virginia, team that almost made the playoffs. 7 catches, 85 yards against North Carolina, rivalry game. 4 catches, 27 yards, and a touchdown over Wake Forest. I believe Wake Forest won 9 games last year. And then again, 3 catches, 19 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Virginia in the ACC championship game, and against Arizona State, 6 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. He came on strong, scored in 5 of his, what was that? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 5 of his last 6 games, and had more than at least 3 catches in the last 7 games. Just came on strong, finished with 454 yards, was just a first down machine. Wasn't one that had as many big plays like some of these other ones we're talking about, the massive big plays. Had a catch for 56 yards against Clemson, but other than that, a lot of his longs were 12 yards, 11 yards, 20 yards, just working his way methodically down the field. And for a tight end, I mean, what more can you ask for to be able to just help you move the sticks?
Yeah, I did not include him because of the difference in quarterback.
And I think that's a very fair point, because obviously a quarterback is going to help make or break a tight end statistics this year.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7. Who do you got?
I've got Benjamin Brahmer from Penn State. I know they have a new coach. I know they have an entirely new roster. But regardless of what you say about Penn State, no matter the coach, they've always been able to produce tight ends.
Well, he also comes with his coach.
And he comes with his coach, and he comes with his quarterback. So Benjamin Brahmer, I think, is one of the most talented tight ends in the blocking game. I think he is fantastic at blocking. And then I want to say in the Iowa State game, in Farmageddon last year over in Dublin, he had a hell of a game. This is someone I think is going to take a huge step forward. Just by putting on the Nittany Lion uniform, you become a better tight end. So number 7, Benjamin Brahmer, based on just talent and traits alone.
I like it. Number 7, I have your guy that's up there a little earlier, Garrett Oakley out of Kansas State. He actually has 13 career touchdowns at Kansas State. That's actually the most all time for Kansas State touchdowns. He had 4 catches for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns against TCU. He's a 2-time All Big 12 recipient. And I mean, he does it all for Kansas State. I mean, he's helping pave the way for Lincoln Kier to come through there in the next couple of years. 38 catches, almost 400 yards, 6 touchdowns in 10 games last year. Just a guy who is going to be Avery Johnson's best friend once again, which also I don't understand how Avery Johnson is still in college. I feel like he's been in college for like 9 years at this point.
He's getting his doctorate.
Anyways, you want to do your 8? You want me to do my 8?
I'll do my 8.
Okay. You do
Decker DeGraff. Sophomore, or now he's rising junior tight end out of Washington. Got his quarterback coming back. We didn't think that was going to happen for a little bit, old Damon Williams, but he's coming back. And Decker DeGraff has just grown every single year. I mean, he's been in college for 2 years, but he's just grown immensely from year 1 to year 2. And I'm expecting a similar bump this year as guys like Denzel Boston are gone. He can become more of the focal of that passing game. So last year, he had 360 yards receiving, 11.1 or 11.3 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns. But what he does best is converts to first downs. That's what he does. He gets the ball and he converts first downs. And when you're that steady, you really become a quarterback's best friend. Well, now Denzel Boston's gone. You might become more than just the quarterback's best friend. You might be his little boo thing, his little crush. Some things might change. You might go from friend zone to end zone. And I think that's what's going to happen this year for Decker DeGraff out of Washington.
So I have Dylan Wade out of UCF as my number 8. I have Dylan Wade here. So 523 yards, 5 touchdowns, 43 receptions, average 12.2 yards per catch. had his big game against Oklahoma State, 4 catches, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns along with 83. Just consistent. Had 4 to 5 catches every game throughout the year last year. Just a consistent threat. And what I'm most excited about for him is he gets Alonzo Barrett out of James Madison as his quarterback this year. He gets Alonzo Barrett. And Dylan Wade is a little bit, I mean, he's 6'2", 240. He's not as tall as some of these other guys. He's definitely, built a little bit at 240, being a little bit shorter. But, I mean, he's a dynamic threat that Alonzo Barrett's going to be able to use this year. I think UCF might take a little bit of a step forward this year. I like Alonzo Barrett as a quarterback. Obviously, at James Madison, he took them to the playoffs. Last year, UCF, I mean, you had Taven Jackson, who was fine. But Alonzo Barrett, in my opinion, is a significantly better quarterback. And you are going to see Dylan Wade be possibly the guy this year. He was second on the team in receiving yards last year. And honestly, Dwayne Thomas Jr. had more yards but 0 touchdowns. Dylan Wade led the team in touchdowns with 5. So I expect Alonzo Barrett to lean on Dylan Wade, be that quarterback best friend, and I think he has a strong year. Like, I would not be surprised if we look back at the end of the year and go like, wow, he had a breakout year and was first team all Big 12.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it either. I mean, he's got all the upside in the world. What's just going to happen in a Scott Frost team? And they still have Alex Grinch.
That is also a massive concern. I just also remember that Scott Frost and Alex Grinch, I think, is still there. Alex
Grinch is still there. Even though he coaches the defense, he's still there. There's the Alex Grinch curse.
That is a very concerning thing. But hey, it means they give a lot of points, meaning that Dylan Wade gets more opportunities.
I like that spin zone. I like that
spin zone right here. Spin zone where Alex Grinch actually helps Dylan Wade.
I like that. Alex Grinch. I thought you said Alex Jones.
I mean, I don't.
That would be a huge spin zone if you're saying Alex Jones.
Spin zone. Alex Jones is actually coaching the defense. That is the ultimate spin zone.
They'd be all wearing tinfoil hats.
InfoWars is now sponsoring UCF. All right, who's your number 9?
We already talked about DJ Bonamy, Iowa tight end. I mean, he's just the next one. He's next up. Finished the season with 434 yards, 15 yards per catch. Just a phenomenal tight end. He was a freshman last year. The sky is the limit, or as Michael Jordan likes to say, the ceiling is the roof for DJ Bonamy.
Yeah, you already know how I feel about Bonamy. I have him up in my top 5. The guy I have, my number 9 is the guy you already talked about, Benjamin Brahmer. Comes over from Iowa State, who's second team All Big 12, 6'7", 255, super tall. 37 catches for 446 yards and 6 touchdowns. I agree with you. I think having the familiarity with the offensive staff, the amount of offensive players from Iowa State, including the quarterback, obviously Matt Campbell comes over there as well. It's just going to help him. I think also when you go look at Penn State's schedule, there is a little bit of breathing room for them to get their footing. I say that, but they actually play Temple, so you never know. At Temple. But they got Marshall, Temple, Buffalo, Wisconsin, Northwestern before they jump into USC. So they've got some runway here before they really start to get it. And I think having the familiarity, obviously Rocco Beck, I think he's going to lean a little bit more on those tight ends than some of the wide receivers, at least at first, when you see some of these crucial situations because of the chemistry there.
That's perfect for Penn State.
Yeah. He's going to rely on the chemistry, and I think that you're going to see Benjamin Brahmer get an uptick in those receiving yards this year. But I think he is going to be a focal point of that Penn State offense for sure.
Hey, did Luke Reynolds go with James Franklin over to Virginia Tech, or did he go to the draft?
I believe Luke Reynolds did go to Virginia Tech.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Number 10.
Who is your number 10?
You'll say yours at the same time as me?
You want to say yours at the same time as me?
Yeah. Ready, set, go. Peter Clark.
Yeah, Peter. Why did I say Parker? I was thinking Peter Parker.
I mean, he plays like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man out here.
So Temple tight end Peter Clark, 16 yards per catch, 483 yards, 6 touchdowns. But like what you don't hear right now, if you get involved in the NFL draft and all the mock draft stuff, Peter Clark is already one that they're talking about being a draft pick next year and being a high draft pick. He is a phenomenal football player. Again, out of Temple. This isn't a typo, because you don't see a lot of G5 guys nowadays stay with their team when they have this kind of upside. You would think they would go somewhere else, which is shocking to see Peter Clark stay. But hey, hats off to him and hats off to Temple for whatever they did to keep him there. Actually, you know what? I don't really want to know what they did to keep him there. But he's got size at 6'6", 265. He's a good blocker. I mean, he's just built. A fun fact about him, too. You want a fun fact about him, Jake?
He's from London.
He's from London, England, and he played at the NFL Academy over there in England. So he's one of those boys that came over after playing in the academy. So pretty freaking cool. I think he's one of those guys we're going to hear his name called on day 2 of the draft next year, like round 2 or round 3 guy.
Yeah. Opened the season with 4 catches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns against UMass. He had a career-long 50-yard reception against Tulsa. He was second team All-AAC. Look, I think Temple is going in the right direction with Casey Keeler there. Peter Clark is going to be a guy they're going to heavily rely upon. I think that...
Wait. We should pronounce his name correctly since he's from London.
Clark.
Peter Clark.
Oh.
Peter.
You sound like you got a Harry Potter now.
Peter Clark. No, Peter Clark. Excuse me. Peter Clark.
You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Yeah, I have Peter Clark here at 10. I think he's going to be a focal point. I think he is arguably the best group of 5 tight end. He is the number 1 group of 5 tight end that on our list here. And I think he is the guy that it wouldn't shock me if he gets recognition on a national level towards the end of the year, being one of the better tight ends in the country, partially because of the competition he'll go against. So he'll be able to possibly rack up some higher stats, partially that, he is just that good and that people are going to be talking about him for the NFL draft. I mean, 6'6", 265. That's a big dude. That is an absolutely big dude.
Well, and he owns a single season touchdown record for Temple. Not too shabby. For tight ends, excuse me. Yeah, with 6. So
for
not too shabby.
No, and he performed best in their wins. Even against Tulsa, 3 catches, 71 yards. Against UTSA, 4 catches, 82 yards and a touchdown. Like he showed up when they won. He was heavily involved. When they lost, ECU, 1 catch, 5 yards. They lose to North Texas, 2 catches, 24 yards. When he gets heavily involved, it seemed like the offense was performing better.
Yeah.
I have an honorable mention here. Do you have an honorable mention or a sleeper? I guess we're calling it sleepers.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'm having Lawson Lucky out of Georgia here.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. So I can come up with another one.
15 catches, 158 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I mean, when you only have 15 against Ole Miss, he had 5 catches, 43 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So the potential is absolutely there. And the interesting part for Georgia is with Zachariah Branch gone, who's going to be taking over his targets?
Well, not just Zachariah Branch, but the starting tight end,
Oscar Delp.
Oscar Delp, thank you, is also gone.
Yeah. So when you remove both of those guys out of the starting rotation there, who is going to take over those targets? And I think Colby Young is also gone. Yeah, Colby Young, who is the second leading receiver, is also gone. There is a massive gap there in the passing game. So who is going to take over these targets? I hope for all of Georgia's sake, it is not Cash Jones, because Cash Jones is another guy. Oh, Cash Jones is finally gone. I was going to say, how is that dude still playing? Cash Jones is finally out of college. But I think Lawson Lucky is going to be that next Georgia tight end. You saw it flash against Ole Miss. I think that we see Lawson Lucky take a step this year.
So I could be a big time homer.
Take a second Clemson tight end.
like a second Clemson tight end, but I'm not going to do that. Olsen Pat Henry would be that guy.
I don't even know if you're going to throw to your first one.
Yeah, no, we got to be able to actually throw the football to do that. Honestly, like my honorable mention is someone you've already mentioned, and that's Jeremiah Hasley from Duke. So again, the only reason he's not on this list for me is because the big question mark at quarterback. Does he produce the same way without Darian Mensah being the quarterback there? I don't know. Probably. He's very talented, but I don't know. And that's the only reason he's not in my top 10. So I'll call Jeremiah Hasley my honorable mention.
All right. Well, that does it for our tight ends episode here. I know everybody was dying to get to the tight ends and hear our thoughts on the top 10 tight ends in college football. With that being said, appreciate everybody joining in. If you're not doing so already, make sure to go follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere you get your social media content. We are definitely there. Go follow Will at Walk On Moose on Twitter. Make sure to go and subscribe to the podcast, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you're getting it. Subscribe to us. Give us a 5-star rating if you like that. If you think it 4-star, give us 4-star. It's whatever you guys think. It might be a 4-star listener. Might not be a 5-star listener.
Give us the 0 stars, if that's what you think.
I don't know if you actually can. You might only be able to do 1 star. But if you got 1 star, let me know why. I'd love to hear why you think we're a 1-star. But if you think we're 1-star, let me know why. With that being said, we will see everybody again next week. We are getting that much closer. I think I saw we're just over 100 days. Conference preview season is definitely coming, and we will have so much more content here coming up soon.
Peace.